Welcome back, everybody. We're sitting in the couch a little bit more, getting a little bit more relaxed. We had our snacks. We got Cheez-It Snapped. You had some bite-sized Pop-Tarts. These are like the cutest things ever. I love them.
Yep.
But we're going to see Mudtrucks play once more against the South Dakota School of Mines. This is going to be an elimination game for both of these teams. We haven't seen the South Dakota School of Mines yet today, but we did see Mudtruck. This, I think, could go either way depending on what kind of team South Dakota is going to be bringing.
Yeah.
Are they going to be a little bit more Doomfist focused? Because then you're going to have to deal with the Doomfist 1v1, or are you going to try to do it another way? You're going to run May Reaper instead.
Yeah, that's the really big question here, is just what flavor of double shield do you want to be running? It's a lot of trust in your DPS players. This is a meta where, you know, you make it or break it off of those ultimates and your DPS's positioning. So it is going to be a lot of pressure. However, you also cannot discount the fact that one of these teams is probably going to have to adapt to what their opponents bring to the field. We've seen McCree's come out in response to Farah's and, you know, well, Doomfist against Bastion, which is still, you know, a questionable matchup at some times. So you can't just be too hard-headed, and that's where the fine line between like sticking to your guns and counter swapping, you know, makes or breaks it.
Sticking to your guns or sticking to your fists, you never know.
Sticking to your fists, that's true.
Sticking to your potato crisps.
Not a chip.
Not a chip. Pringles aren't a
crisp.
chip. There was a whole thing about it earlier. We're not going to do it again. There was a special thing for everyone who stayed with us during the transition. You got some snacks out of it. That's a good deal for you.
I know, exactly. Like getting free snacks is really just all I need.
Yeah,
free snacks and like a free T-shirt. Can't forget the free T-shirt.
And a big old carrot.
Yeah, exactly. Just pay me in carrots. Honestly, like 3 tons of carrots. Gotcha.
Well, it feels good to be back though. We haven't. There hasn't been a ton of Tier 2 Overwatch in the last couple of weeks. Rivalcade is the only, I think, other big tournament with a bigger prize pool that there has been in the last couple months, really. But that's going to be changing today. We're at a LAN here at local host Denver, who are wonderful people. Nerd Street Gamers is hosting the stream. Kellogg sponsored the tournament and paid for everyone's entry fees. It's absolutely amazing. Look at the set. Look at how beautiful this is. Look how lucky we are.
Not only do we have these like plush cushions, but we're surrounded by snacks. You literally, like, it can't be better, right? Gaming and snacking. That is Kellogg's initiative here. They're trying to like make it, you know, make these kinds of opportunities as available as possible. They've actually paid for all of our players' entry fees and supplied the prize pool here today. 10K up for grabs. So we really appreciate it. Big shout out to them. Cheez-It Grooves, of course, also chipping in. As we can see, gaming and snacking. Pringles, Cheez-Its, Pop-Tarts. Man, that's like your perfect breakfast, right?
It's college.
Right? Oh, you could afford Pop-Tarts in college? I was like, I did the whole like terminal thing with like Tom Hanks where you put like ketchup and mustard between saltines.
Huh.
It was that and ramen.
I learned something about you. Mine was I was lucky enough to have roommates that had a George Foreman grill, so mine was mostly grilled cheese.
Oh, I was gonna say you make like a ton of paninis.
Yeah. I'm not paninis. I'm not that fancy.
Oh,
right. I did literally talk about shoving ranch into my face like a Neutrogena commercial.
It's not a panini. It's a warm sandwich.
Well, no. Grilled cheese on a George Foreman is like the best thing ever.
Really?
It's so good.
I've never experienced a George Foreman grill. Yeah, like
I know you went to Taco Bell for the first time, like 6 months ago.
We did. You busted my Taco Bell cherry. Yeah, it was us together.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
That's some honor language, Ham Tornado. Yeah, good choice of words. And so let's go ahead and get back into the game. We've got Mudtruck versus South Dakota School of Mines, and an elimination game between both of these two teams. You're seeing them get ready when those hands come together. Oh, we got some transcending as well. Yeah, passing into the iris. That's how you get your mind into the game. Unfortunately, we're not going to see a ton of Zenyatta today because of the meta. I miss Zenyatta. I miss Diva. Hopefully we get to see them a little bit later on once the patch from and the PvE does go through. But here we are. We're back on Lijiang Tower. If there's a control map that I want to see over and over today, it's this one. I love this map. I know a lot of people are right there, probably right behind King's Row. This is probably one of the more popular maps in Overwatch. Again, another OG map as well.
Yep.
And we're going to see these two teams battle it out. Mudtruck. That's how you're going to know who's who. There's 2 Mudtrucks on their team. Now he's going to be the Doomfist. Dak is the one that I think really needs to change the play a little bit more. We talked about it. Losing the right way is so important here in Overwatch. In any type of competitive atmosphere, you have to know when and how to lose. Know your conditions. If you have a 10% chance of winning, it might be better just to bet on a loss and try again a little bit later. That is not what Dak was doing with some of his ultimate usage. And now you get an opportunity opportunity to change that up. They've been able to listen to us talk about it as well. So we're going to be looking for it too, as he's going to be on that Moyer. We're going to see Mudtruck move over to the Reaper, so we're going to see Doomfist Reaper at the beginning here, and I love these on because of this right here, action right away, as Artificial going to be taken down very quickly. It's a 6v5 now for Mudtruck. Mudtruck Reaper going to get stunned out, but this is still going to be their fight to lose. They have to make something else happen, though. Just this one hit isn't going to be enough. They got to find another one, as Knight on the Doomfist just doing a little bit more hiding than a little bit more playing of the game so far. Or maybe I'm wrong. He's got a little bit more ult charge than now. He's on the other side, and they're going to have a 6v6, one some more. Mudtruck going to have a little bit more of a defensible position. You're seeing that pay in dividends right now, as Mudtruck Reaper going to take down that Orisa without that shield cooldown. It's going to be a lot harder for the South Dakota School of Mine. The Hardrockers gonna be able to hold on. They're not gonna be able to do that, as Mudtruck Reaper gonna take them down.
Mudtruck definitely mopping the floor with the Hardrockers right here. Oxcatman trying his best, did manage to get onto the point before it flipped right over, but he was caught between a rock and a hard place. Mudtruck's Reaper just walked right around, nailed that Orisa in the head. And if Mudtruck have 2 shields and Hardrockers only have 1, well, that's a 1 fight.
Here we go. There's that Coalescence coming in from Artificial. Big Ben is actually going to get taken down immediately. Knight, though, going to get the Doofus on the other side. It is a 5v4 right now for the South Dakota School of Mines. Chetamane going to get a little bit of Reaper action as well, as South Dakota School of Mines should be able to flip this. Mudtruck, though, going to try to stall this out as long as possible. The stall's over 50% for Mudtruck. It's a good time to flip for South Dakota.
And what an issue that's been plaguing many of the teams today, difficulty engaging. It does not seem to be an issue for the Hardrockers, but oh no, just as quickly as the words leave my mouth, they immediately lose Knight, and now it's not even worth it to use those ultimates to try and hold this on any longer. Win quickly, lose quickly. Everybody's on the same page, and Mudtruck's going to take it right back.
You felt that. You saw it on the screen. That hurt. That you felt that in your soul. That was a demolishing coming in from Mudtruck with their 5 ultimates, and there's potential 6 ultimates coming the other way. There's going to be a lot of particles on the screen. You're going to get some shields. You're going to get some Coalescence as well. The Sound Barrier, Death Blossom available for both teams. Atomic going to use that Gravitic Flux, and there's going to be one on the other side as well. One's going to be a little bit better than the other. That's going to be South Dakota School of Mines. And now the Coalescence is going to be coming through. A ton of HP getting lost both sides, but South Dakota School of Mines is going to be losing a lot more, as Mudtruck going to do better with their ultimates. That was as even as you could have asked for in terms of a fight, and now Mudtruck find themselves with a grand opportunity to win this first round, something they were unable to do against We Broke Down.
Oh, absolutely, and Naoki here also can make a huge difference with that Meteor Strike, fly in the back, potentially cut that Coalescence in half from Artificial. Hardrockers, this is going to be their last chance.
They're going to put it all on the Supercharger Coalescence combo. Naoki going to try to get that Meteor Strike. He's going to take down that Supercharger. They're already doing a little bit better on dealing with the various sundries that these characters create. Supercharger, there's no immortality field to think about, but that was a struggle for them in the last matchup. Knight, though, going to take the Mudtruck Orisa out. They're able to flip the point as well. So at 99%, Mudtruck going to have to try one more time. South Dakota have to be perfect from here on out.
Yeah, they do have the tools here, but it is going to be an uphill battle. That time around, Hardrockers were able to force Naoki out of the fight. And without that Doomfist, Mudtruck just didn't really have anything to hold Hardrockers back. So they're going to be looking to focus Naoki down once again, keep that Doomfist from flying free.
These Hydrospheres doing a lot of damage, getting close to that Gravitic Flux, way ahead of Atomic. This is a really big opportunity. You can combo the Meteor Strike with the Gravitic Flux, or you're going to isolate the Coalescing Moira. It's going to whiff in instead. The Accretion's going to miss to Knight, getting so much support here, keeping South Dakota into this fight. You got to make contact, but a nice stun is going to keep the Lucio safe. I think that was probably going to make contact. Mudtruck, though, going to keep in this fight. They could play this a little bit more patiently. They are going to do that instead. They have time to work, but no need to all in that situation. I'm glad Swaggy Turtle keeps the ultimate in that situation.
Yeah, definitely a good move from Mudtruck. They have one more good fight. Don't string it out into 2 bad ones. Just go for the single best shot that you have. Hardrockers, though, focusing. Now he's so hard, but it's not going to work this time around.
This has been non-stop action between these 2 teams here on Control Center. The Gravitic Flux not going to finalize any kills, but Mudtruck going to finalize their kills instead. This is going to be it for South Dakota School of Mines for Control Center. Mudtruck, I feel like this has been fight after fight after fight. We've said other things for Scrappy, but no, we were lying. This is the definition of Scrappy. No breaks at all between any of these teams. Not a lot of like preset plays that we saw that was pretty much go, go, go the entire time. It's definitely entertaining, but both teams I think could clean it up a little bit going into the next round.
It was a little bit rough around the edges, what I'd like to call fishing for kills. You know, maybe I could get something here if I just poke a little bit. School of Mines definitely, you know, it's going to feel bad that they lost a pretty close control round, bringing it all the way back from 0%. But they have an option here on Li Jiang, especially if they want to run the same composition. You don't need to get too fancy with the Pharah if that's not something that you're very comfortable with. Take the fight straight to the objective. That's where Hardrockers were really able to keep Naoki in check. You could see his health bar yo-yoing back and forth. He was really struggling to keep alive after Hardrockers focused him down. So that's going to be, you know, the way forward for this South Dakota School of Mines, and Naoki, first one down.
That is where you need to take advantage if you're the Hardrockers. That is one of the biggest weaknesses again. You know, that is the identity of Mudtruck almost. You live and die by it now. And when he's playing well, not a lot of teams can beat him at that point in time. But when he's being a little over-aggressive, but again, when he's being a hero, you know what that reminds me of is Water from Gladiators Legion. It's like when he's playing well, you might be one of the best teams in the tournament, but there are also times where you just throw it away. But right now, Mudtruck going to take it right back, though. Even though the Hardrockers had a man advantage, they're going to lose that advantage and then some, as Mudtruck don't give up, even though Hardrockers do get the first cap.
No, that's 16% for the Hardrockers, but not too much more as Mudtruck just grinds their way through all of those shields. Look how aggressive Mudjug is being. He is 86% to Atomic 71, and Hardrockers had, like you said, that man advantage. Mudjug really knows how to push the envelope with his Sigma play, and Sigma, even though he is a tank, pumps out a considerable amount of damage, and over time those grab fluxes will add up.
Here it goes. Gravitic Flux is out, and he is not going to be very large in a charge there with that ultimate. Mudtruck Reaper going to get felled. The Meteor Strike going to take down that Arista. It's still a 4v4 between both of these teams. Another brawly fight on the objective. Proper Hardrocker is going to have a little bit more at their disposal as Mudtruck used all of their ultimates, but the Hardrocker's given a little bit too much space in my opinion. Now he's getting a lot of respect, and he's going to be taking advantage of that as he's going to continue to rain some destruction with that fist.
Yeah, this is a moment where Hardrockers really, I like it, a little bit of the spicy tactical
I love
crouch.
tactical crouching.
Hardrockers really just needed to get out of that fight as soon as possible. When they lost their tanks, it's going to be almost impossible for a single Doomfist and a couple of supports to bring things back. Naoki had all the time in the world because Hardrockers were just stringing out a fight they were going to lose. We've talked about this before. Knowing when to back off is an asset.
Oh, ultimate's coming through. Meteor Strike as well from the Hardrockers. They're not giving us the Brain Camp Tornado. As Naoki going to get 2 Rocket Punch kills in a row. He's going to be so safe. Over 600 HP at one point in time. He's going to zone out this Moira station away. So the Moira's out of this fight pretty much. And School of Mines going to be struggle bugging a little bit longer.
Oh, and the stagger onto the Moira. You don't see it happen to Moiras that often. Usually Baby Divas are the victim. Ooh, I like this positioning from Naoki. He might just be able to catch somebody with a rocket punch right off the bat. Oh, he gets the Hammond. Hammond not going to be able to roll onto the point as smoothly anymore.
Oh, no! Naoki's going to get the Meteor Strike Knight just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Again, that situational awareness not quite there for the Hardrockers, and Mudtruck going to bring this one back. The Hardrockers lost a big opportunity when they let a man advantage get taken away from them, as the Mudtrucks showing up on this particular matchup this time around. Very different story than when they were going up against We Broke Now. Control was close for them, but Mudtruck, I think they like this brawly style way more. I think We Broke Now came in with more set plays, came in with a little bit more control, but when it's going to be brawly like this, when the Doomfist is going to be able to just roll rampant, because remember, when it's like this, when it's a brawl, when there's not a lot of set plays going on, Doomfist gets really good in that situation, because situational awareness, the phrase of the day so far, gets much harder for these teams, and Naoki was able to take advantage of that. I think if South Dakota is able to slow the game down a little bit, then it's going to be much easier for them to deal with the Doomfist, but they're playing Mudtruck's game right now, and that's not working out for them.
Yeah, Mudtruck do pivot very quickly, especially their Doomfist, as we could see from his point of view. Every single one of his abilities struck gold. And that's just incredible value from your Doomfist. You're going to be expecting to miss a couple of those rocket punches here or there, an uppercut here or there, but Naoki was hitting his targets more often than not. And unfortunately, the same couldn't be said for the Hardrockers, who are having a bit of a hard time against the Mudtrucks. So Hanamura, though, could be a totally different game. We saw in our very first series of the day. One team takes control, the other one takes assault, so it is not all over for our rock-minded friends.
Rock-minded friends. That's like what our dads say about our music, right? Right? No, wait, no. Fail. We're just going to let that one go. Basically, I was trying to do a dad rock joke, and it just didn't work.
Okay,
yeah.
What dad rock? No. All right, hey, look. There's
Games!
Games!
There it is. There it is, guys. And so this is what I don't like to see. I don't like to see silence after a loss, right? And so Mudtruck did the same thing last time. We saw what happened. You got to continue to communicate. A loss does feel bad, especially when you're
there's
traveling,
potential to
right?
be
yeah, and there's
too.
potential to be eliminated. So you come all the way from South Dakota, you might get eliminated. You don't want to go out in a bad mood. You got to try to have fun throughout the entire thing, and I think you got to keep it loose, right? You got to talk to each other. There's strategies that you got to say, right? And so what is the other team supposed to be doing, right? How are we going to react to that instead of continuously being reactive rather than proactive in our play? Because I think that's where South Dakota really lived, was just reacting to everything. And sometimes it worked, but most of the time it didn't.
Yeah, it's a poor a poor strategy to fall on as your safety, that we're just going to be more clutch than the opponents. We've seen it not just in today's NCS major, but in contenders, even in OWL. London Spitfire is a team that definitely comes to mind, where it feels like they're like, well, our plan is not going the way that we wanted. We'll just try and be more clutch. I'm like, know thyself. It's like the Oracle in the Matrix said. That's the key to enlightenment. If you're not a really clutch team, that's okay. But come into things with that set plan, focusing Naoki down, just, even if you don't get that confirmed kill, if you're forcing him to use his seismic slam to get away from you rather than aggress into your backline, you've done your job. So I think that's where our South Dakota friends should focus.
Slow it down. This Doomfist was running rampant by the end. And again, when things get dysfunctional, Doomfist becomes functional. Much better than my joke earlier. And so Cheez-It Groups, thank you. Thank you, Kenlogs. Thank you, Linode. Thank you, Zipchair. Thank you, Localhost. And AimLab.
Yep.
Right? And so now, thank you, Hanamura, for bringing us the next map between Mudtruck and the Hardrockers. Really, no one from Hardrockers, other than Knight, I think, really showing up there. Big Ben died a couple times pretty early on. I believe he was the one that was transcending earlier, so maybe not on his best character, right? A lot of these guys played so much Zenyatta until this last patch. They're still kind of like coming back into the other supports. Moira, not the most mechanically intensive support out there, but still very, very strong in this meta. And if you haven't been playing that kind of character for a long time, a lot of these players are good enough just to be able to pick it up. But those little idiosyncrasies of each character, those, just like with Doomfist, on knowing which walls to punch to gain height and how to roll out, how to cancel your rocket punch to get a little bit further out in front, right? You don't quite know that when you're learning these characters for a tournament like this if you've been playing something else for so long. We actually saw that in contenders with a lot of Reinhardt players, just like it feels like
Reese's,
it just felt weird, and you could tell that it wasn't their favorite thing in the world.
It wasn't 100% comfortable. Mudtruck, though, going to be very comfortable with this composition. Is the one that they've run time and time again. Double shield with the Doomfist Reaper. Dak now not on the Moira, on the Ana instead, so we're going to be looking for some of those big anti-nades that can still have a massive impact on this composition. There's a 4-man purple, and Oscat man down immediately.
The Hardrockers losing a ton of momentum really, really early on, and this is... Oops. And that's going to mean more ult charge from Mudtruck than Hardrockers at this point. And they're going to go ahead and change things up for the time being. Knight going to run his own Doomfist. There's one on the other side that's really, really good. Let's see how this goes.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's such a massive purple. Not only took Dak to 44% to Nano, but it basically cut Hardrockers' engagement off completely. You have a Sigma on your team. It's just like D.Va's defense matrix. You need to use that ability, that big suck, to eat up those anti-nades because it can destroy your momentum.
Oh, Mudtruck.com getting good stunned out. Oh, really good kinetic grasp. That's going to feel really good to keep him alive. He was on the brink of getting taken down, but Swagaturtle is going to get the first kill. Anyway, this is a 6v4 for Mudtruck right now, and the Hardrockers continuing the trend from the last time, unable to get anything going, but the kill on the now means that that's going to be a long spawn.
Yeah, Mudtruck, though, don't want to press their advantage. They felt the pains of getting punished for being too over-eager. They're going to fall back, see if they can hold this 5v6, but with the coalescence from Artificial, that's going to be easier said than done.
Oh, there's that visual bug. If you swear the coalescence is happening from Artificial, and now Mudtruck gonna keep it going. It's a 4v5 right now for Mudtruck. Now he has that Meteor Strike. He can use it whenever he wants. Knight just used his, so now he can use theirs. You can land right on top of the other Doofus, and Knight's gonna get taken down. It is kind of that jostling. It's kind of what reminds me of Defense Matrix used to be. When you use the Defense Matrix versus when you don't. When your opponent uses it versus when you don't. If you're the first one to use that that Meteor Strike, it's going to be much harder for you to make anything happen because the other Doofus can land right on top of you.
Yep, you've shown your hand, and it is plain as day. What's not plain as day is, though, Mudtruck hiding in that hallway. They might just let Hardrockers through. Are we going to see a 5K Death Blossom? No sound barrier available for Big Ben.
Mudtruck being very patient right now. His experimental barrier still has a lot of HP on it. Cheetah Nate has to make something happen, and all that happens to him is the cold embrace of death instead. And the Hardrocker is going to go ahead and invest both of their support ultimates in this. They feel like they can still win, but they're taking more casualties. That is not how you want to use support ults at this point in time. Again, you want to slow the game down. That's not how you do it if you're the Hardrockers.
Yeah, Mudtruck thrives on this chaos. They've got a clutch Doomfist Naoki, and right now Knight just can't really hang toe-to-toe. And that's okay, but Hardrockers keep trying to play that very brawly, scrappy style of Overwatch, and it is not working out for them. Now they are down not only that coalescence, but the sound barrier as well. They would really like one or the other to defend against Mudtruck's Reaper ultimate. This will be an overtime fight on the point. It's going to be close quarters, so Hardrockers have to make it there first. Oscatman does manage to live.
Scatman is going to try to finish off the arrest on the other side, but casualties once more. At least it's pretty quick. Don't use your Death Blossom in that situation if you're Cheetah main. Now, you have 30 seconds, which is enough time to get onto the objective, and you don't have anything to do once you get there.
No threats. If nothing else, Mudtruck know they don't have to be afraid. They've already been beating you at that game, and this is that moment in Assault maps where you can overcome the defense who have tossed absolutely everything except that sound barrier into that last hold. If you have both the Coalescence, the Meteor Strike, and the Death Blossom, you might just be able to overcome with numbers.
The Doofus is trying to take Mudtruck out of the equation, but he's unable to. Has the Meteor Strike away. Gravitic Flux goes up, and that's a ton of people in the air, and he's going to take down Big Ben. 65 already for Mudtruck, and for me, that feels like it already is over. Big stun, like you said, Hammer Tornado, and a ton of kills for Mudtruck as Hardrockers unable to take point A, and they're going to leave everything onto a fuller hold. If they want to continue on in this tournament, the Hardrockers have to hold Mudtruck for 86.6% on point A.
Ooh, our South Dakota friends unfortunately seem to come from the school of hard knocks, really just not getting anything going on that offense. And the positioning there, again, talking about that is situational awareness. Basically, you never ever want to find yourself on that ledge facing the objective against a Lucio, against a Hammond, against a Sigma, because if your opponents are worth any kind of salt, they're going to boop you off, and that's exactly what we saw happen. Unfortunately, South Dakota, they were just scrambling so hard to get anything going. Situational awareness kind of just went out the window.
Well, kind of just, Mudtruck was kind of, baiting them into it, right? Like, come at us. We're okay, right?
Come at me, bro.
We've figured you out so far, and that's exactly what we saw. Now the Hardrockers in a very hard predicament right now. They have to get a fuller hold. I mean, they could hold at 2 ticks instead, but it seems like an uphill battle.
It's going to be tough, yeah. Hardrockers cannot afford a single kill. They have given up their man advantage in the past, so down a man is going to be a very tough thing to hold against the Mudtruck offense. Who Mudtruck showing, a little bit of a different look, at least in spawn. Sombra, Genji, definitely not the flavor of the week, but still workable. EMP into Nanoblade is essentially a guaranteed team wipe. You just have to make sure you take care of that Baptiste lamp first, something that some of our team teams have struggled with. So Hardrocker is going to be relying a lot on their support's utility in order to hold against Mudtruck.
Now he's going to do some scouting. I think we're seeing a little bit of flexing on him right now. Oh, no, we're just going to scout. Man, it's been a while since that's happened, really.
Right?
The Somber Scout, we don't really see that as often because you don't really need it anymore, right? Like, everything is just, we know where you're probably going to be staying, unless you're confused about what kind of team comp's going to be on the other side, but you're going to figure it out on Hanamorna pretty easily. Mudjug going to use that Connect Res. Look at that overshield right now, 748 damage. And that is something that they weren't doing last time around. I remember Mudjug used it on a halt earlier, but you saw how much tankier Sigma can be just by pressing shift. And Mudtruck now are going to wait for that cooldown and going to be able to come right onto this objective. Now he and Mudtruck have been the stars so far. Dak doing a much better job this time around, using that ultimate in a much better position. But when you're ahead most of the time, it's hard to screw that up. And now the Hardrockers still, I like this. Be patient, right? Let them wait. Let them make the wrong move first. But it seems like Mudtruck are going to have to come onto the objective to have the Hardrockers do anything. The Accretion does hit the Orisa. The Orisa already below half health. Nice halt to try to get her in even more of a predicament. But the Bastion's going to get frozen. Nice immortality field. They're able to break it down. The Coalescence is there. Artificial, Cheetah Maid, Atomic, and now the OG Scatman are going to fall. That's going to be it for the Hardrockers as Mudtruck going to come right back from a loss right into a win and continue their tournament life.
Hardrockers were patient, but Mudtruck was not only patient, they also executed, and that's gonna be it. Congratulations to Mudtruckers. They make their way out of the lower bracket. Unfortunately, South Dakota School of Mines are going to be eliminated from the tournament, but they kept things interesting there. It's just really unfortunate that they weren't really able to get a kill, get some kind of stagger onto Mudtrucks in that very long interim where Mudtruck was simply waiting for the Sigma cooldowns to come back up. That could have been an excellent time for the Hardrockers to strike. Instead, they played it a little bit more conservatively, but unfortunately didn't work out for them.
You're seeing it in the cards right now, just domination from Mudtruck. The Hardrockers are going to have to go back to the drawing board. I think a big thing that they could do in terms of their practice is learn how to be a little bit more patient, knowing win conditions a little bit more, knowing those percentages. We've been harping on that over